Hi, everyone. It is December 3rd, 2019. I want to read a little bit of Michael Schneider's article here, Signs of the Times. Mount Rainier and the new Madrid fault zone were both just hit by significant earthquakes. It is signs of the time, but unfortunately, Michael Schneider does not talk about militaries using extremely low frequencies that cause earthquakes. It is the sign of the time that we are living with this it's a technology that could have been used for good, but it is being used in a very evil, destructive, irresponsible manner. So I'm going to show you some extremely low frequencies that I've caught on radar. I'm going to go through some bizarre mainstream media articles. National Geographic. Yeah. Oh, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. Because nobody looks. Mainstream media ignores what our military is doing. So, what's happening here? Mount Rainier has been called one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world, and scientists tell us that it is just a matter of time before a major eruption occurs. When that day finally arrives, Mount Rainier has the potential to bury hundreds of square miles with a colossal tsunami of superheated mud that is literally 700 feet deep. Wow. Now that sounds like fun, doesn't it? And since Mount Rainier is very close to major population centers, we are talking about the potential for the worst disaster that we have ever seen in modern American history. But a massive earthquake along the new Madrid fault zone actually has the potential to be far worse, a very deep scar under the ground that was created when North America was originally formed, has made that part of the country very mechanically weak, and many experts believe that a big enough earthquake along that fault zone could literally rip the United States in half. Yes, I know about the U.S. Navy map that shows the United States ripped in half due to, well, I'm not sure if the U.S. Navy said it was due to an earthquake along the New Madrid, but it just so happens to be along the New Madrid fault line. So Mount Rainier was hit by a magnitude 3.6 earthquake on Sunday afternoon, and the New Madrid fault zone, well, it is approximately 6 times bigger than the San Andreas Fault Zone in California. It covers portions of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Mississippi. And the largest earthquakes in the lower 48 states have happened in this region. Scientists assure us that it is just a matter of time before more catastrophic earthquakes hit this fault zone. And that is why what is happening near the town of Ridgely, Tennessee, in recent days is so concerning. A swarm of at least 15 earthquakes reaching up to 2.1 magnitude rattled Ridgely, Tennessee, a small town near the Mississippi River, over a 2-day period. The other quakes in the swarm range from 1.1 to 1.5 magnitude. Ridgely sits directly inside the New Madrid fault zone. The recent earthquakes, Ridgely has not had an earthquake in 24 hours. It had 5 earthquakes in the past 7 days. It had 13 earthquakes in the past 30 days. It had 197 earthquakes in the past 365 days. And it's interesting to note that every earthquake is very shallow. Very shallow. Why do I emphasize the shallowness of these earthquakes? Because that is a signature of earthquakes artificially induced via extremely low frequencies. 7 kilometers, 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers, 7 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 4 kilometers, 9 kilometers. Years ago, when we were seeing a lot of earthquakes, and they seemed to come up around 10 kilometers. That's how deep they were. That's it. 10 kilometers. And 10 was the signature of a HAARP-induced earthquake. So, we have crazy people who are emitting these frequencies clearly without much care. So, Ridgely does sit directly inside the new Madrid fault zone, which is not good. Most Americans are not going to start caring about the warning signs until a major disaster has already happened, and isn't that true? We don't seem to have very many Americans caring about anything as long as they are okay. So, we live at a time when our planet appears to be getting increasingly unstable. Alaska just was hit with a 6.0 earthquake on Monday. But nobody's looking at what the military is doing with this, with these electromagnetic frequencies coming from so many different sources. And it is, I don't know, I find it incomprehensible that it's like a wall is up. You know, I was looking at these studies. Shallow, very low frequency earthquakes accompany slow slip events. Now, it doesn't matter where these events are taking place, but I find it odd that they don't seem to understand slow slip events with durations of days to years. Because of their importance for understanding slip behavior along faults, especially for plate boundary faults, slow earthquakes have been intensely studied by many researchers to explore several possibilities. For instance, the sensitivities of slow earthquakes to stress change may function as stress meters along subduction zones. They have no answers. They have possibilities. It could be this, it could be that. But nobody looks at the use of extremely low frequencies. Or how about that HAARP emitting very powerful high frequencies into the ionosphere, which pushes up the ionosphere, and when they release the power, that ionosphere comes bouncing back, and it shoots down an extremely low frequency that comes right on down to the Earth, traveling through the Earth. What do you think those low frequencies are doing to the Earth? Below where we walk, it's shaken things up so that our planet is increasingly unstable. It's not a surprise to me. Here, another one. You know, I just want to read a little bit. Very low frequency events and low frequency events are types of earthquakes that are thought to obey an empirically derived slow earthquake linear moment scaling law that differentiates these events from regular earthquakes. Slow earthquakes are an umbrella term that encompasses seismic slow slip events, very low frequency events, and tremor, which consists of clustered arrivals of low frequency events. There remains uncertainty as to the source. Really. Well, here's this National Geographic article that was posted November 28, 2018. Strange waves rippled around the world, and nobody knows why. Nobody knows why? Maybe you don't know, National Geographic. Maybe the scientists don't know. But a whole lot of us know that not just the U.S. military, but militaries around the world, Russia and China and U.S. and Brazil, and they're all Norway. I mean, they're all emitting incredibly dangerous, powerful frequencies that are wreaking havoc on our planet. Let me just read a little bit of this, because it's really... Why are the low frequency waves so weird? Jeez, why are they weird? There was no big earthquake kicking off the recent slow waves. And this is in Mayotte. But it doesn't matter where. Because all of these earthquakes, well, it's a mystery. We don't know why. And we don't know why areas that have never had earthquakes are suddenly having earthquakes. Here, there was no big earthquake kicking off the recent slow waves, adding to the weirdness. Mayotte's mystery waves are what scientists call monochromatic. Most earthquakes send out waves with a slew of different frequencies. But Mayotte's signal was a clean zigzag, dominated by one type of wave that took a steady 17 seconds to repeat. Wow. Wow. So, it's something quite new in the signals on our stations. The mystery wave. Those signals were a little strange. These are what the PhD candidates and the scientists are saying. Oh, it's so strange. They're too nice. They're too perfect to be nature. Nature's not perfect. Mother Nature is not perfect. So when you see on radar and satellite these perfect lines that cut through precipitation, or the perfect lined 1,000 plus storm from the Gulf of Mexico on up to Canada, you know that's not Mother Nature. Yes, they're too nice, they're too perfect. So, what is actually causing the super slow vibrations? We just don't know. The signal's odd uniformity could be due in part to the surrounding rocks and sediments. Really, the lack of data makes it tough to say more about the wiggly forms. I mean, they even throw in these, childlike terms. Because we have to be infantilized. We have to be treated as if we are stupid little children. It is very difficult, really, to say what the cause is and whether anyone's theories are correct. Whether even what I'm saying has any relevance to the outcome of what's going on. Doesn't matter who these people are. These are the experts who don't seem to really ever take a look. They just don't take a look. United States military has an earthquake weapon. And you know what they use? Ultrasonic or acoustic. No, that's the extremely low frequencies, artificially induced to create earthquakes or destroy runways and buildings and bridges. The weapon will generate a very strong acoustic wave that causes structures to resonate and thereby destroy them. Earthquake weapon. 2025 Technology Abstract. This is from a U.S. military document. These can create earthquakes, Gwen towers. Now, this is the military's extremely low frequency facility in Maine, Cutler, Maine. Gwen tower arrays. And we have these arrays all over the country. The difference between a Gwen tower and a cell phone tower, and I'm saying this because a lot of people are still thinking that it's the same thing. Oh, it is not. Cell phone towers are dangerous. These are weapons of mass destruction. These, one antenna with all of these wires going down to the ground, which I have in Anderson, South Carolina, about a mile away from where I live. One of these, not an array, just one. They can kill all life within a 40-mile radius. Just up that power, and all life is dead instantly. That's how powerful these are. Now, the wires going down to the ground, you don't see that with cell towers. So that distinguishes a Gwen tower from a cell tower. And these wires go right down to the ground in a circumference of the antenna, and they can emit these extremely low frequencies through the ground. Now, artificially induced extremely low frequencies through the ground. Imagine the vibration these things take. So, can you imagine just vibrating underneath where you are standing? The vibration, what does it do? It weakens the ground. So when we see rain events that literally are collapsing roads now all over the country, we see all of these sinkholes erupting all over the place, and these shallow earthquakes, and our scientists can't figure it out. That means we have pretty stupid scientists, or, oh, they're just not allowed to ever talk about, well, the high power, extremely low frequency radiation generated by modulated high frequency heating of the ionosphere, which can cause earthquakes, cyclones, localized heating. HAARP, Doppler radar emits high frequency heating of the ionosphere, pushes the ionosphere up. Then they release the power, lessen the power. What then happens? The ionosphere sends us high power, extremely low frequency radiation right on back down to Earth. HAARP is currently the most important facility used to generate extremely low frequency electromagnetic radiation in the ionosphere. The HAARP transmitter radiates a strong beam of high frequency waves modulated at extremely low frequency. Well, Doppler radar, mini HAARP stations. So, these extremely low frequencies emitted through the ground, whether it's coming from a extremely low frequency facility, and there are a lot of these arrays. If you travel around the country, along the interstate, and there is an array that is really magnificent, and I believe it's on right the border of Pennsylvania and West Virginia. Is it West Virginia? I'm gonna have to check. Sorry, it borders Pennsylvania and Maryland, and it is sitting on either side of 81, Interstate 81, and there are about, I believe I counted 21 as I was driving along 81, 21 Gwen towers on one side and about 21, 22 right on the other side. That is a huge, extremely low frequency transmitter site that is not identified, marked as called a military extremely low frequency site. And I'm sure they have them along interstates, as they do have the Gwen towers, not 20 on one side and 20 on the other side, right across from one another, but they have Gwen towers all over the interstate. So let me take you, as I was going along 81 trying to find it, and I cannot find it. If anybody wants to just, hey, if you have nothing to do, scroll along 81 to try to find that site. But Summerdale, well, here are 3 Gwen towers, back to back. And this, you will see all over the country, these Gwen towers back to back, which is, one is extremely dangerous. Why do they need 3? Now, the Gwen system was decommissioned, the ground wave emergency network decommissioned in the late 70s. No longer using it as an emergency network. So why, then, do we have Gwen towers going up, popping up all over? Why back to back, when originally they only needed Gwen towers 300 miles apart because of the wide span of the extremely low frequency? So, yeah, signs of the time, exactly right, Michael. Though I sure would like it if you would do some, just a little bit of research on that military using these frequencies. Let me show you very quickly. All right, this was on the 27th of November. You can see a faint, extremely low frequency. Well, not so faint, right here, going through Tennessee. Now, Ridgely is right up here in the corner of Tennessee, Missouri. But these extremely low frequencies, do they need to be exactly at Ridgely, Tennessee, exactly where the earthquake occurred? No. No, because there's a ripple effect. There's a ripple effect. And the loosening up of the ground is really not something you want to be playing around with. This is the 27th, approximately 10 hours later. Here we have the extremely low frequency still in the same place, belting away. The 28th at 1:34 a.m. All time periods are Eastern Standard Time. And I was rather focused on these extremely low frequencies belting away, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. But let's see. their span, their reach is pretty extraordinary. As you can see, you can emit from one state right into another state, and this extremely low frequency right here, Missouri, right through Tennessee. This is the 29th. Florida. Look at this. When you know how dangerous these frequencies are, when you see this, you know you're at war. You are at war. So these frequencies are going through Tennessee. You can see the faint, extremely low frequency in the same area, which is Ridgely, actually. There's a very faint, and you gotta look close. It's very close to Ridgely. That's the 29th at 2 a.m. This is the 29th at 10 a.m. And still you have these frequencies that are traveling through Tennessee. December 1, extremely low frequency. Missouri into Tennessee. The 2nd of December, yesterday, extremely low frequency going through Tennessee. Right here. And let's just look at right now. Yep. Extremely low frequency. Now Ridgely is right here in the corner. Okay, well, we're living a rather bizarre time when everything is a mystery to the experts, but it's not a mystery to us. All links are below. Stay safe, everyone.